Katelyn Hunter here with Olive Tree Counseling, located at Southside Pastoral Counseling, coming to you today for video number 5 on our video blog for mindfulness. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about multitasking. So, how many of you guys are so often finding yourself with your mind racing and feeling like you cannot control your thoughts and they're just going every which way and you can't focus and you can't concentrate? So many of us. So a lot of times we feel like we're going to be more productive if we are doing a bunch of different things at once. So for example, maybe, I know I'm guilty of this, watching TV, scrolling on Facebook, eating dinner, texting a friend, like all of these things all at once, talking to my husband. Wow, our brain is being split up in a bunch of different little ways, and the energy is being just a little bit is given to each activity, and so no one activity is getting all the attention. It's being split up. So it's not really being given efficient attention. So that leaves us with little mistakes in each of those areas. Now, with watching TV and scrolling on Facebook and eating dinner, what mistakes are you going to make, right? It's not that big of a deal. But when you're sitting at work or school and trying to get things done, then it becomes more of a problem. So it's really important to practice mindfulness so that we can focus on the present moment and only be focusing our attention on what is happening with us right now and choosing one thing to wholeheartedly focus our attention on. So it's really a great idea to start practicing this with something very simple. So something that I like to do when I'm like starting off practicing mindfulness is to practice it with eating. So eat mindfully. What that means is to focus on the food that is in front of you. So say, for example, you were going to eat your breakfast mindfully. You might focus on the smell of the food, how it looks on your plate, the temperature of the food, the texture of the food, the taste, of course, of the food, what it sounds like when you're like picking it up from your plate or your bowl, what it sounds like when it's in your mouth and you're crunching it or you're chewing it, and then what that feels like to go down your throat and into your stomach until you can no longer feel it anymore. Really focusing in on each one of those little movements with eating your breakfast. So from beginning to end, from the plate to chewing it to swallowing it, all of those little movements, focusing in on that. Because if you're focusing that hard on your breakfast, then you're not going to be worried about what's on TV or what's on your phone or what you have coming up today. Your attention is going to be super focused. Now, that can be really hard. So sometimes we have to get rid of the distractions in order to make it easier on ourselves until we get better at it. But the key is to really practice those intense mindfulness times so that we can get really good at it. And then once we're really good at it, then we can use it when we need it. So when we're stressed out or when we're at school or when we're sitting at our desk and need to focus in. So being present, picking a time to be super present and practice that mindfulness skill so that when we need it the most, we're able to utilize it. So I'm looking at my little list here of other things that I wanted to talk to you today about. And the other thing that I wanted to explain to you is that when we are practicing our mindfulness, that it's okay if we mess up and get these thought intruders into our brain. That's going to happen, especially as we're starting out practicing mindfulness. So whenever these thoughts pop in your head that you don't want there or that don't belong there, be kind to yourself and just accept that this thought has popped into your head, and then choose to refocus your attention, choose to focus again on the task at hand or what the thing is currently that you're choosing to mindfully pay attention to. So the key, I guess, is to not judge yourself for having those thoughts pop in your head, but instead to just accept it, recognize that that happened, recognize, okay, that I just thought about that random thing, but now I'm going to refocus. So don't beat yourself up for it, because it's going to happen. We're practicing and we're learning. And then the last thing that I wanted to leave you guys with is just this little kind of example that I use with describing how our thoughts work. So our thoughts are kind of like waves in the ocean. Very relaxing to imagine our thoughts being waves in the ocean, right? So they come in, and sometimes they can seem overwhelming to us. They're really big, and they crash into our head. Not literally, right? But they crash into our mind, and then they're there, and we're super aware of them. But with thoughts, they don't last forever. No thought has ever stayed in our head for the rest of our life, right? Just like no wave stays on the shore. It always drifts back out to sea. It always slowly dissipates back out into the big, wide ocean. So that's how our thoughts are too. They come in, sometimes they can seem really big, sometimes they can be small. They crash in, they come into our mind, they come to the front of our thoughts, but eventually they're going to fade back out. So it's important that when we have a distressing thought, or a thought that we don't want in our brains that comes in, it's important to just remind ourselves and remember that eventually this thought is going to fade back away. So I can refocus my attention on something else, even if that thought keeps popping up, because eventually, if I keep going at it, then my thoughts are going to be focused on what I want them to be. It just takes practice. So this is just a little message of encouragement for you guys who have been practicing these mindfulness activities. It's okay if our thoughts get overtaken by intruding thoughts, by intruders, but be kind to yourself and let that thought slowly fade back away and refocus your attention. That is our little 7-minute mindfulness tip for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And remember that if you want to reach out to me for any reason, to schedule an appointment, or maybe you have a question, my contact information will be below. Katelyn Hunter at Olive Tree Counseling, located within Southside Pastoral Counseling, and my phone number and email address will be there for you as well. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.